Angelique Kidjo here on Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. She just sang at Carnegie Hall on Saturday night here in New York. But we're going back to Chicago, actually to Arizona. Barack Obama took the stage in Grant Park just before midnight, waiting for the concession speech of Senator John McCain. He conceded defeat at the Biltmore Hotel in Phoenix, Arizona.
My friends, we have come to the end of a long journey. The American people have spoken, and they have spoken clearly. A little while ago, I had the honor of calling Senator Barack Obama to congratulate him, to congratulate him on being elected the next president of the country that we both love. In a contest as long and difficult as this campaign has been, and commands my respect for his ability and perseverance, but that he managed to do so by inspiring the hopes of so many millions of Americans who had once wrongly believed that they had little at stake or little influence in the election of an American president, is something I deeply admire and commend him for achieving. This is an historic election, and I recognize the special significance it has for African Americans and for the special pride that must be theirs tonight. I've always believed that America offers opportunities to all who have the industry and will to seize it. Senator Obama believes that too. But we both recognize that though we have come a long way from the old injustices that once stained our nation's reputation and denied some Americans the full blessings of American citizenship, the memory of them still had the power to wound. A century ago, President Theodore Roosevelt's invitation of Booker T. Washington to dine at the White House was taken as an outrage in many quarters. America today is a world away from the cruel and prideful bigotry of that time. There is no better evidence of this than the election of an African American to the presidency of the United States. Let there be no reason now. Let there be no reason now for any American to fail to cherish their citizenship in this, the greatest nation on earth.
Senator John McCain conceding defeat last night in Arizona. This is Democracy Now!, joined in our Firehouse studio by Manning Marable, professor of public affairs, political science, history, and African-American studies at Columbia University in New York City, the author of many books, including Living Black History: How Reimagining the African-American Past Can Remake America's Racial Future. Welcome to Democracy Now!
Thank you.
Also, I wanted to offer condolences on the death of your dad, right about the same time as the death of Barack Obama's grandmother.
That's right. The greatest regret I have is that my father didn't live to see Obama's victory. But I think that my father would have been ecstatic at the event last night.
Did you expect to see what you have seen? Did you expect this to come to pass now?
Actually, yes, for two reasons. One, that we had demography on our side. That is, that the United States is rapidly being transformed ethnically, that by within the next 30 years, the majority of the population of the United States is going to consist of people of color, of Latinos, Asian Americans, and African Americans. So someone like Obama was inevitable to emerge within the political system. I'm somewhat surprised it occurred so suddenly into the 21st century, but someone would have inevitably emerged. The second thing that is striking to me is that Obama represents, I think, a group of kind of race-neutral African-American leadership that include Deval Patrick, the governor of Massachusetts, the Cory Booker, mayor of Newark, New Jersey, who are not race-based politicians, who appeal directly to whites, who try to sidestep issues of race, who are pragmatists, ideologically more centrist than the liberal politicians who emerged out of the civil rights and black freedom struggle of the 1960s and 70s.
Barack Obama will be the 44th president of the United States. He talks about conciliation, about representing the people that didn't even vote for him. But who did vote for him? Can you talk about the breakdown? I mean, we're talking about, what was it, one of the largest victories in the vote in more than 40 years.
That's right. No Democrat has achieved the kind of the margin that Barack had since Lyndon Johnson in 1964. You had the largest number of Americans vote in U.S. history, about 136 million. Of that, if you analyze the vote of Barack Obama, the foundation of it is kind of like a three-legged stool. Over 95% of African Americans and a massive turnout of 2/3 of all Latinos throughout the country. And then third, something like 2/3 of all Americans under the age of 30. When you put those three groups together, Americans under 30, between the ages of 18 to 29 years of age, that's about 44 million people. And you had a massive turnout. So consequently, he started out with these three core constituencies and built a majority of the population across the country. It's an unprecedented victory that allows him to really dictate public policy.
People were very concerned during the primary that here you had Obama and Clinton going at it, ripping each other down, and there was John McCain just sailing along. But now many are saying that actually it kept them in the limelight. They were hashing out issues. They were always there. And that McCain was just coasting, not doing much of anything.
That's right. I think that Obama owes Clinton a great deal in terms of preparing his forces to win in the general election. His ground game was far superior to McCain's. There was tremendous enthusiasm. His organization in getting out the vote, especially in states that had early voting, was astonishing. And the Republicans had nothing to really counter it.
Well, let's talk about that, because it was precisely what the Republicans, really pushed by Governor Palin, but she was doing the job for John McCain, mocked at the Republican convention. They talked about this community organizer and asked, what does that mean? That's
right. But it was the lessons of being a community organizer that allowed Obama to understand how a Democrat was going to win nationwide. That it was imperative for him to develop networks where you reach out into communities. You literally develop an organizing strategy to mobilize several million people and to bring them to the polls. But it was more than simply an electoral strategy. It was a social movement strategy that allowed Obama to win.
But you also have, on the one hand, the grassroots community organizing, but something that perhaps works against it in the future and something that grassroots groups have to deal with, the massive amount of money that was poured into this campaign, unleashed by, well, not abiding by campaign finance rules, opting out of the public campaign finance system. And the question now is who Barack Obama will answer to.
That's right. The way I think about Obama now is that he represents something of a reverse Reagan, in the sense that what Reagan represented was a hardline right-wing public policy agenda that was framed around clear principles: anti-communism, smaller government, building up the military, but with appeals to the center. Obama is like the reverse of that. You're going to get, instead of a right-center leadership, you're going to get a center-left leadership. Obama's going to govern from the center, but he's going to make strong appeals to the liberal left. And that's what his government will look like, with core principles, energy independence, alternative energy, an end to the war in Iraq, the economic, addressing America's economic problems.
Well, let's talk about the end of the war in Iraq. I mean,